Hi and welcome to this video. My name is Anne Goodall and in this video I'm going to explain how anxiety is created. So just sit back, have a listen and just learn of the two pathways that tend to put people in the anxiety cycle. Let's get started. So over the last number of years I've been fortunate enough to work with hundreds of people, literally spending thousands of hours in clinic. And from that time, working with anxiety, I have realized that there are two key pathways to anxiety. The first one is what I call an adverse event, and the second pathway is a learned process. So let's talk about an adverse event first. An adverse event literally can be almost anything where your unconscious mind feels that it's unsafe. So for example, my adverse event that happened when I was in my 20s is I was in a hotel room, in a bathroom. I'll share this story in greater detail later. But for now, suffice to say, I was in a bathroom. Literally, I closed the door and I couldn't get out. The door would not open. I was on my own and I had what I now know was my first panic attack in my early 20s. It is literally like something switched, like a switch flipped in my brain. For other people that I've worked with, sometimes I've had people who have been in a car where something has went wrong, not a full-on accident, but something where they really felt like that their life was in danger. And then the next time they went to get into the car, or the next time they went to drive on that road or a similar road, then they found themselves having this anxiety, this adrenaline running through their body. And of course, what most people's response is, unfortunately, is then to start avoiding that situation. And the more we avoid situations, the more problematic they become. It can be almost anything, like it can be literally a dog bite, it can be a spider, it can be you name it. It's just an adverse event where your unconscious mind takes on the belief that it wasn't safe in that event. The other pathway that can cause anxiety is if you have been reared with parents or a significant person in your life where their response to the world was actually anxious. Now, let me say straight up, I am a mom of 3 teenage girls as I'm recording this, and parenting is a tough gig. So I am not saying this for you to beat yourself up. If you're a parent watching this and you have an anxious kid or an anxious teenager, an anxious young adult, I do not want you to take from this the fact that, oh my God, yeah, that's their whole life is ruined because of you. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when we are growing up with the significant people in our lives, we actually learn how to respond to the world based on them. I mean, I had a client recently who was saying to me that her little boy came home from school. This is how we just take on things, yeah? And he said to his mum, I've got a reaction to cats. He goes, I'm allergic to cats. Now he's 6. Now they don't have a cat. So his mum's like, oh, okay, show it to me. And of course he didn't have any rash or anything. She said, how do you know that? And he said, well, his friend, Ian, his friend in school, had now got an allergy to cats, which, yeah, okay, cool. Ian does have an allergy to cats. But literally as his friend, he took on the same belief. So it's these beliefs, as young people, we take on the beliefs. We literally model the behavior of those around us. I mean, my example, which sounds, crazy, almost funny now, but it wasn't. When I was a kid, my mum was terrified, absolutely terrified of storms. So it was thunder, lightning. She literally would be underneath the table. And I, as a kid, of course, would be underneath the table with her. So for years, when storms would come, you would literally think that the roof was going to come off the house. I used to be terrified. It was only much years later I realized that this is literally a learned behavior I learned from my mum. I'd never had lightning hit me. I'd never had anything major happen. But I had learned my fear of storms based on my mum's response. So I know firsthand this happens, but it's not just firsthand. I know this from being in clinic. The other reason, home kind of environment that creates and can create anxiety in a person is if they come from a family or a household that doesn't feel safe. If you've had a parent or somebody in your house and you don't know when they're going to go off, it's almost like you live like this, yeah? Where you're just waiting for things to kick off. That's also another reason that can cause anxiety. But I don't want you to go out there and think, that's it, mom or dad, you cause it, I have it for life. No. You're here because you've chosen that you want to evolve your anxious brain. And we can make the changes. So let's just giving this as an example. Children generally in the world, if they're in a reasonably good household, carefree. It's a job to be carefree. Joys of the world, happy, great imagination, incredible imagination, just like I shared that story earlier with that little boy having an allergy to cats because his friend did. Life is full of wonder. Basics learning years. Now let's just say, look at this dog, Rex. Pretty cool dog if you like dogs. I love dogs. I think, yeah, Rex is pretty cool. Looks happy, looks friendly. Problem is, Rex does not like children. I'm just giving this as an analogy as an example. So maybe Rex had a bad example when he was a pup. Maybe someone pulled his tail, pulled his ears, or maybe he's never had anything to do with kids and he just doesn't like them. Who knows? The point is that Rex instinctively knows his job is to protect his master, protect his house, and he doesn't like little people around. So let's just say Josh meets Rex, doesn't even have to have a bite, just has a big scare, maybe even a bad scratch, but definitely something that hurts him, yeah? So it's an early event. From that, we create beliefs. Now here's the thing, here's the important thing. We don't just create a belief that Rex is the only scary dog in the world, because if we did, that would be fine. In my example, with my past history, that meant that I would have been absolutely safe doing everything else apart from going into bathrooms on my own in hotels. But that's not how it works. So we create beliefs with similar things, yeah? So with Josh, it wouldn't be just Rex he'd become scared of, it would be scared of dogs he would develop. So avoidance begins. So unless Josh has a parent who knows, okay, we don't have to take him to Rex, we've got to take Josh to other dogs, we've got to literally socialize Josh with dogs, because if we don't, you've got the potential of creating a problem later down the track. Now you might say to me, Anne, are you serious? Like, really, can we remember these things? Yes, we can at the level of the unconscious mind. I know this from clinic. And literally that's how phobias begins. That's how anxiety begins. It's we have something and we create this imprint at the level of the unconscious. Anxious parents, as I mentioned about, as I spoke about with my mum, with the storms. It's literally, if you think about it, we learn when we're little, 0 to 7, we're in what's called theta or theta brainwaves. So we're in that, non-discriminatory way of learning. You say to a kid, oh, there's a big monster behind the tree. They go, oh, is there? Because they believe it, yeah? We don't have, not like as an adult, somebody says to you, there's a big monster behind the tree. You go, yeah, whatever, kind of like, what have you been taking? But as a kid, we don't always, when we're young, have that ability to know whether it's a way that we should do it or the way that we shouldn't do it. And very often, remember, our parents had anxious parents who were potentially anxious parents. So parents tend to do, if they're good people, they tend to do the best they can do. But it's literally a learned behavior. So just because if you had anxious parents and you learned anxious ways of dealing with life, I need you to hear me really clearly. That does not mean that you have to stay like that. Not at all. So in conclusion, there are literally 2 pathways to anxiety, an adverse event or a learned behavior. It doesn't really matter which one. Very often it can be a combination of the 2. But to get rid of it, it doesn't matter. We just got to go in and do some work. The work that we're doing in this program with the unconscious processes works regardless of which it has been. The event, literally, it's the imprint of the event at the level of the unconscious mind. And if you think about it, if you think about some of the things that you don't do, very often there'll be an event that happened way before that. Sometimes it's even school bullying. I have some adults come to me in their 30s, going in a job, and they find it really, really difficult to actually put themselves out there. They find it difficult, and they know it's necessary for promotion, but they find it difficult to actually mix with new people. And when we go back and ask questions, sometimes the case is they've had some bullying event in their life. And literally that bullying has imprinted on their unconscious that says, oh, okay, new people equals hurt. New people equals judgment. New people equals a bad event. And hence their unconscious processes literally become, okay, avoiding meeting new people, which of course is problematic in the real world. These are beliefs that literally reside at the level of our unconscious mind. I need you to hear this really, and you'll be hearing it from me in many, many videos, in many, many different guises. Anxiety is run by our unconscious processes and our unconscious beliefs. And that is where the change needs to occur. Because the good news is you can actually learn to reprogram your unconscious mind. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope from now you just begin to look at, not see anxiety as, oh, what is this? Like some mysterious thing that is in your life that you've got no idea how to actually get rid of it. Anxiety typically has 2 pathways that it comes to actually be residing in you. And the good news is, regardless of which one that is, understanding that it's the imprint, the belief, the unconscious process where the change needs to occur. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.